Funky Politics.
Funky Politics Show.
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics. Powered by MLGW. Memphis Light, Gas, and Water.
I've got the power. Hey, yeah.
Right to front of the whip, I snap attack. Front to back.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm DC, sitting here along with LT and Doc War. How are y'all today?
Funky Politics, where as Tina Turner said, we never ever do anything nice and easy.
Tina Turner said that?
Yeah, she did. She said, well, Angela Bassett playing Tina Turner said. How about that? How about
I'll go with it. LT.
But we never do anything nice and easy.
No, nothing here is ever nice and easy.
We do it real right and funky. That's how we
It is
do
generally always funky. LT, how are you today?
I'm good. Glad to be in the mix.
But I'm going to tell you what, though, if you Bill Cosby right now, it sure ain't nice and easy for you.
Or in the mix.
Well, it's going to be real right funky. I don't want to make light of it.
Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. No, I don't. I mean, this guy at one time was a father of all of us.
He still is.
Technically.
He's a father with transgressions.
That's right. You know, he's no different than anybody else.
Even the president. He sure isn't any different than him.
Did you just say the president?
I sure did. He's got 18 women with sexual assault charges against him, too. When's his trial coming up?
It's not going to happen. LT?
Today's a sad day for me. You know, Bill Cosby has been a great part of my life. And so...
From Jell-O pudding to Fat Albert.
Wait a minute. Did he just set you up on that?
Yeah, I said Jell-O pudding to Fat Albert, man.
Man, let me tell you something.
This man is an entertainment icon.
That's correct. That's correct. But speaking of an icon, Memphis and Shelby County has a very brand new president and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water.
So
that's
what was the icon?
He's an
Power.
icon.
Oh, the president's the
Sure.
icon. Okay.
The president.
Of MLGW, not the United States.
No.
Okay.
We don't have him coming.
Well, go ahead and tell us about it.
JT Young, new transplant to the city of Memphis.
All right.
And let me tell you something.
Newly minted
president and CEO of MLGW. He is going to be something to reckon with. You know what I'm saying, LT?
She's still stuck on Jell-O pudding. Jell-O pudding pop.
That's why, folks. Hey, stick around to this show. It's going to be real, right? It's going to be funky. Right here on Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
There you go.
Good save.
We're getting funky, y'all.
33% of Americans have a college degree. 43% of Africans in this country have a college degree. These are African immigrants that are coming into this country. They didn't have the opportunity and access, but they came over here in this American dream and created within this framework the opportunity that this country was set up, the ideal it was set on. And now to say that these people, because the disparaging remark goes further than just hole.
It's Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
It starts with you.
Plus one.
You know, giving back through Plus One will make a difference for families in crisis.
It starts with you.
Plus one.
Grandma's message couldn't have been any clearer. If you want to change Memphis, look in the mirror. It starts with you.
Plus one.
I remember when we got help from Plus One.
And now we're helping others.
Hey, Memphis, you can
Make a change.
You too can make a difference.
Artivism.
Artivism features conversations with artists, creatives, and citizens working at the intersection of art and social activism. And I'm Linda Steele, your host. And I'm a grant maker, change maker, social venture capitalist, and I invest in individuals and projects that use the arts as a vehicle for social change.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
Hey, this is JT Young, President and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, and you are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Just deliver.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm DC, one of the nice hosts on this program, sitting alongside my other co-hosts, Doc Ward. Doc, how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. Politics is the universal language, and funk is the key.
I like that. LT, how are you? What do you think about that?
It is the key.
It's a key, but it's a key to
It's
what?
the key. The key.
My silent follower. You should not say that.
Silent file, whatever. Hey, look.
There you go.
This is our sponsorship spotlight. We are very fortunate to have the very brand new president and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. Folks, that's right, MLGW, in the house. Mr. J.T. Young. How are you, sir?
Awesome. Excellent. Glad to be here.
Welcome to Funky Politics, and welcome to Memphis, by the way.
Well, thank you. It's a blessing. Been a blessing to be here. Love the community, meeting the people. Just an awesome place to be.
Well, you know what? We are glad to have you. Tell us who J.T. Young is. We read a little bit already. Now, we read a little bit now. We want to know who the real J.T. Young is. Who's your favorite football team, first of all?
I'm not really a big NFL fan, but when I am one, I fall to two teams, and that's the Steelers,
yes, sir,
and the Panthers.
Well,
and so that's just if I'm gonna follow two, that's who I'm gonna follow.
Well, you'll get it.
And every now and then I'll follow the Seahawks. We got a guy from Pensacola named Doug Baldwin actually that plays for the Seahawks. So he's
a boom.
Yeah,
you know him, Doug Baldwin the third.
Doug Baldwin. Yeah.
Is Seattle? Is that an NFL team?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. President. Go ahead.
So, hailing from Pensacola, Florida, native Floridian. Been in the utility industry 35 years. Wow. My wife and I have two sons. One named after me. We call him Thomas. He's 29, lives in Pensacola, and our younger son's in Atlanta and works for Delta Airlines. And my wife and I have been married almost 33 years.
Wow.
So we've been very, very blessed to love the Lord, and we've been blessed with this new opportunity here in Memphis, a city where we come to really we didn't know anyone, no relatives. We had no connections to the community, but it has been amazing in these first few weeks how many folks have been so embracing. So we've been really, really, really blessed.
Have many people been bringing you their bill and say, hey, can you take it?
No,
you know
I haven't.
Let me tell you something. Memphis is a wonderful town. A wonderful
really
town.
is.
We hope you all enjoy the ambiance of the city, number one, and also, of course, the citizens. Because people like Doc Ward and I, we're here, but now LT unfortunately lives in Stuttgart, Arkansas.
No, I live in Marion.
Okay, well,
Let's get it right. I live in Arkansas, though. So that brings me to a point. Can you tell us a little bit about your career and how you got into the utility industry?
So I was studied engineering in school, undergraduate, and
I'm an engineer as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I did electrical engineering and thought I was going to be a computer engineer, decided to do power. Wow. And so did an internship at a utility company in Florida and graduated and went to work for TVA, believe it or not, and worked at a nuclear plant. And left there and went back to Florida and worked at a utility down in St. Pete, now called Duke Energy, Florida. But for the last 29 years before coming to MLGW, I was at Gulf Power Company, which is part of Southern Company. And so had a variety of roles there that been just really great. Learned a lot about the business, and it's a great business. I love serving customers and keeping customers at the center of what we do and the forefront of everything we do. So it's been great.
Wow.
Yeah, now, in relationship to the business, because you've been in the industry all over, Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, with whom you're now president.
Yes.
How is that company revered in your industry?
MLGW?
Yeah, because obviously it has a pretty good reputation to get you all the way up here.
Well, the one of the intriguing things, there were several, but one of the intriguing things about MLGW is the fact that it's really the largest three-service municipal utility in the country, and that's intriguing to me because even though I've got a lot of years in the industry, my past has been pretty much focused on the electric side. So it's intriguing to have one entity that provides all three services, which are really essential for quality of life. So that's been an intriguing piece for me.
But don't you find that interesting? I think that there's a place in Mississippi called Entergy, and I think they've got a little bit of in Arkansas too, right?
Texas, Louisiana.
Yeah,
it's all south.
And nobody kind of does what we do with all three. I find that kind of interesting.
It's unique. It's relatively unique. Now, I know we're not the only ones, but I do know that it's very interesting. And I think the fact that we've been doing it here at MLGW so long is a testament to the resilience of the company and the opportunity we've had to serve customers in this way. So it's been good.
But in addition to that, also being that three-service utility also gives you some level of prominence directly with TVA as well, does it not?
Well, we are TVA's largest customer, and we do take. I think we're roughly 10 or 11% of all TVA's load. So we've been a very good partner with TVA, and in a sense, I've sort of circled back home from where I started.
That's right, because you were a part of TVA.
I started with TVA. I did. Mm-hmm.
You are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
So you've been in Memphis now for, I'd like to talk about those 100-day terms, right? You've been in Memphis
About
for
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay, so you haven't met your 100-day
milestone
not yet.
Not yet.
But
There's
just-
somebody out there counting down, though.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So based on what you've seen before, how is Memphis unique in its, need for utilities and application of serving this community?
Well, I don't know that Memphis is unique in the sense that, all places where I've lived, folks have depended on the services that we provide for their quality of life. I do know, and I'm very sensitive to this, the culture here. Memphis, of course, has a relatively high poverty rate. Utilities are an essential piece of quality of life. And so one of the challenges I think Memphis has is making certain that we maintain affordability for what's essential. And so that's a one area that's important.
Well, before we go there, I want to make sure that we qualify that Gulf Power, where you were at original, or before you got to MLGW, how large a utility service was that company? In terms of how many customers?
Yeah, the size of the utility at Gulf Power Company is roughly the same as MLGW.
Oh, wow.
In terms of customers, meters served, we served about 460,000 electric customer meter points, but we were throughout 8 counties in the Northwest Florida area. So from a meter count standpoint, electric meter count standpoint, very, very close in size. Again, we did not have the gas and the water. And from a population standpoint, if you will, I would say we probably touched about the same number, but we were across 8 counties. So
8 counties.
Yes.
About the same amount of customers.
I would say roughly the same amount of people, if you will. But it was just because, again, a customer to me isn't just a meter point. It's those that our service influences. And so customers go well beyond the meter, in my opinion.
So if you have an opportunity to speak, if this is the first time customers are hearing from you in the Memphis area, what do you want them to say as the new president, or want them to hear from you as the new president of the utility?
Well, one of the focal points that I want them to know that I'm sort of just honed in on is making sure that we're delivering what I call superior customer value. And that means that when they pay for the services we render, that they realize and recognize the value there, that it's something that's not just affordable, but that provides a greater quality of life for them. And we are focused on customer service. We're going to be focused on community development and community engagement. And we're going to be focused on ensuring that they're able to maintain a quality of life by utilizing the great services that we provide.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We're getting funky, y'all.
The Memphis Park with the Jefferson Davis statue was put up in 1964 during the Civil Rights Movement. These were all symbols of an oppression. These statues need to be in a historical context. They need to be in a museum, a Civil War memorial site, maybe even be at the ancestral home. All these things are valid places, but a public place of prominence was not where they needed to be.
It's Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
It's iConversation.
Elliot Perry, otherwise known as Socks.
Man, thank you. How you guys doing?
Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Hey, thank you. Nice to be with you guys.
Glad to have Mr. Allen Houston.
Trying to stay warm up here in New York.
I hear you. Personality extraordinaire, Mr. Scoop Jackson.
Appreciate the encore.
Mr. Michael Ray Richardson.
What's up, man? Glad to be here, brother.
A 3-time NBA All-Star, the one, the only, Detlef Shrimp.
Howard and Larry, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
iConversation.
The KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
Funky Politics.
Let's get it funk up on that fun up on up in this dancery. We got y'all open, now you're floating, so you got to dance for me. Don't need no.
Back at you right here on Funky Politics, of course on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm DC, LT, MD, Doc, and guess what? We're visiting with the president and CEO of MLGW. That's a lot of acronyms. JT Young.
Yeah.
Mr. Young.
Glad to be here.
Man, I tell you, Funky Politics is better than, the power is on. And that's
Amen.
a good thing. Now, the air might not be on, but the power is on.
That's all right. Yeah, we got to have the power to get the air.
That's right. I'm glad to have you here. So I know they won't be cutting our power off while you're here,
Yeah,
right?
Keep it on.
There you go.
LT, we were talking to, this is, of course, is our sponsorship spotlight, and it's always good to have the leadership team come in from MLGW and talk to our listeners one-on-one and just say, hey, look, this is what we're doing with MLGW, and we hope to be doing better. And you're talking about being customer-focused, but also in this town or this area or this city that we live in Memphis, we have a lot of poverty. And, of course, people say anytime you want to go up a point or two in terms of their rates on the bills, they're talking about, well, I can't afford it. But I know that as you're coming in, that you're looking at all of this stuff.
Absolutely.
In terms of not only the area you're in, but also the services that you have to provide on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a difficult thing, and my history has shown me that, again, because it's an essential, what we provide is essential for life, for quality of life. Right. We always want to make sure that prices are reasonable. We can't give it away, obviously, but
that's right.
But we want to make sure prices are reasonable so people can afford to continue to live the way they need to live and do what they need to do. So we're always sensitive to that, and I'm taking a deep dive look at our costs, making sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're keeping our costs at a level that's reasonable for our customers.
So in terms of costs and your operations and things like that, can you share with us some of the technology advances that may help you improve your cost or to improve your operations productivity?
Yeah, so I'm, again, it's 5 weeks in, so, don't hold me to all of this, but I will tell you that in general, and maybe in particular here at MLGW, one of the things that we have to be able to do as we look forward towards the future is think about how we leverage technology in delivering the services we provide. I know everyone's heard about the smart meter rollout. That's one piece. But what a lot of folks don't realize is way beyond that, there are things that are part of our infrastructure where technology can be leveraged so that, for example, we can have more automation around switches. So, for example, if we have a storm come through and we have outages, rather than send somebody physically out to turn that power back on, we can do that automatically from a remote location. That gets our customers back on sooner. But again, that takes investment. That takes investments and enhancements to our infrastructure. But things like that are just a couple of examples of where we are going to have to continue to leverage technology to make sure that we improve and make sure that our reliability stays where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Along those same terms, when we think about, power and utilities, oftentimes people go strictly to the consumer. But there's another side of that. It's the contractors who help you with your infrastructure and with a lot of the work that you have to do. So what is MLG doing with its contractor base as far as economic development as a way of, becoming a part of that community development as well?
Now, let me ask you to just clarify, when you say contractors, tell me what you mean.
People who have the opportunity to do some of the work that maybe you don't have on your payroll or resources, so contracting opportunities for small businesses.
Yeah, so we last year and in years before that, but I know in last year we had about almost $75 million that we did with minority and women and small local business entities throughout the community. That is significant, and I don't know if people realize that, but in my history and based on what I've seen, that type of spend with minority and women and local businesses, small local business is huge. So we are always going to be focused on making sure that we are engaging with folks who can help us in the delivery of quality service to our customers at great prices. So we're going to continue to do that.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
I want to take a couple steps back, though, because before we really get deep into economic development, because I know that's sort of that's an aim.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily the number one goal of MLGW. But how much is your budget right now? Does MLGW operate off of roughly?
Well, if you want all in, we're almost a $2 billion, about $2 billion.
Because I don't know if a lot of people understand is that you all are out here buying electricity, buying power to sell back to consumers.
Absolutely.
So it's not a situation where people can come in and say, can you give me a break on this or that? Because all of a sudden
purchase power.
You're purchasing the power.
That's correct.
That they're not compensating you for. It makes you operate at a loss. Right. So in that regard, though, and you being the number one customer for TVA, does that give you any leverage opportunity at all?
Well,
when it comes to discounting or purchasing your
and frankly, that's probably a question better for TVA. But I will tell you that my understanding is that over the years, we've enjoyed a great relationship with TVA, in terms of our purchase power agreement with them. I understand that there has been some negotiations in the past that have positioned us well with them right now. I'm going forward. One of the things that I'm always about is that we ensure that we are getting the best opportunity, best deal that we can for our customers. So we're going to continue to do that and continue to look at the pricing and the terms and making sure that we're making sure that the appropriate renewables energy is integrated. And we just had a great visit with TVA recently this week at the new Allen plant here in town, and they're doing a great job so far. So we're pleased.
So you would say one of your goals obviously is to make sure your cost of utilities to the end user is going to fit within whatever the economics are of that city.
Well, we have to make sure that that's a balancing act,
right.
And we have to, and it's difficult. But if we weren't purchasing power, if we were generating power, whether we were purchasing or generating, there's still cost associated with getting the power energy to our customers.
I want to circle back again to something LT brought out, and that was the work you're doing with the LSOBs and the MWBEs. I've talked to, and I think we've all talked to the former president and CEO over there. MLGNW is on the cutting edge, I think, in this community.
Absolutely.
Along with the airport authority. And now under the city and the county, that's a whole different, and I'm sure you've seen some of the writing, but if you can assure that we're at least going to stay at that level, and then and we try to, of course, climb and go up that ladder, I think that'll be a testament to some of the things that will happen that will favor MLGNW as we go forward.
And one of the first things that happened my first week here, I had a chance to participate in it and witness. We did a minority procurement fair for minority and women and small businesses, and I had a chance to go out and meet several of those folks. And so we're trying to really step it up. We're actually, while we're excited about the level of where we are, we're looking to continue to grow that. Yeah. So we want folks to know how to do business with us. We want to know what they need to do to qualify to do business. So we're continuing to make sure we keep the focus on that. Absolutely.
So speaking of that, I know you're 5 weeks in and you don't have all of the websites memorized.
Absolutely.
But if you could point people or small business people in the direction of where they need to go to find out how to become a part, where should they first look?
So anyone that's interested, wants more information, they can contact us at 528-4020, 528-4020. Or certainly they can go to the website at mlgw.com, and they'll find more information on how to do the procurement business with us.
That is fantastic. I tell you what, we will, in our next segment, we'll talk a little bit about MLGW being an economic development engine within our community here in Memphis. And you know what, we'll be right back with you here on Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Funky Politics. Riffin' on jazz.
This next gentleman we're talking about has an unforgettable voice.
My sugar is so refined.
Jazz was the happiest.
Al
Calloway went to my school.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's not an alum because he didn't graduate. He has some gigs to do.
Riffin' on jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
This is Dr. Elisa Haushalter, and you're listening to Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Mississippi putting it down. I'm the hottest round. I told y'all can't stop me now. Listen to me now. I'm lasting 20 rounds. And if you want me, then come on.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm DC, one of the wonderful hosts of this program, sitting here alongside LT. Hey, LT, how are you?
Good, DC. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Doc Ward, how are you, sir?
Man, it's good to be in the company of someone that has power.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking
I said someone that has, not one that never pays for power. As a matter of fact, I'm actually kind of.
Well, will you bring him in here since I don't pay my power?
I have no problem doing that.
Thank you so much.
all,
I appreciate it.
But I got to give it to you though. I mean, you can sit here next to the president and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, not having paid your bill on time ever, and interview him. That takes courage, profiling courage for you, DC. But we are with the president and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, Mr. J.T. Young, the newly minted president and CEO. And we're happy and privileged to have him here on our sponsorship spotlight. And one of the things we've been talking about with MLGW, that's been overlooked really, is the public utility as an economic development engine and tool. And earlier we talked about MLGW being the largest customer of TVA. And TVA historically was created out of the Great Depression to be not just a provider of energy, but an economic development basis through infrastructure. So now looking at MLGW sort of as a version of TVA, how do you position MLGW to be sort of that same type of economic engine in the Memphis community that's has so many issues with poverty and the like to help elevate its status?
Well, the nature of what we do as a company is just a core, is central to economic development in the community. And so when companies look to either expand or relocate to this community, one of the things that they'll be thinking about is the fact that they need water, they need sometimes gas, and they certainly need electricity, and they'll be looking at the cost associated with that. And so we've been really blessed to be one of the lowest cost providers in the nation. And so that has already historically served. You may have heard recently about an expansion with FedEx. There's been an expansion at St. Jude. And there are other things that are going on that I think will have a great impact on this community by offering more jobs for the community. But one other piece that I will say is going to be very important in my tenure is our focus, and we have a lot of employees volunteering in the community and engaging in our community. But one of the to me, the central element in resolving and helping to address the poverty issue is education. And so we're going to make sure that our employees and that we have a hand in trying to make sure that's addressed. And I know people are doing it all over the place. I've come from a company that had a heavy emphasis on that, addressing poverty, because part and parcel of that is you deal with that through education, predominantly.
Well, you know, if you're talking about education, and I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this sounds like an opportunity, because you're probably one of the only corporations in this city that has a large number of engineers.
Absolutely.
Probably some mathematicians and scientists.
Well, the largest number, anyway.
Yeah, well, other than maybe FedEx. But if I'm hearing this correctly, I'm hearing you say there's a possibility for you developing a larger intern pool with some of our young kids.
Every intern job posting that has come across my desk, I've approved, because I benefited personally from being an intern.
Wow.
And I want to see our young people in our community have the opportunity to engage with a real company and do real meaningful work and learn how to engage in an enterprise like MLGW. So I'm very, very committed to that, and I know that we're always looking at budget constraints, but I will tell you that we have got to be focused on our future. So we cannot look back and become a better entity for this community. We've got to be preparing our young people to be competitive for the future, and so we're going to continue to focus on that.
And surely you're counting on those interns that you have to get the education of MLGW, but also to go to college.
Absolutely.
Learn what they need to learn.
Absolutely.
And then come back to the community.
Right. And I would say that I tell people that, and we had a program down at Gulf Power. We had a great program that we worked in partnership with our high schools in the community as well. So I'm in favor, and we need skilled labor. We need folks.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, we need folks. If you don't go to college, that's fine. But get the training, get the skills you need to come and help us do what we do. We can take you out of college. We can take you after you've gotten your skills developed to work in some of our field opportunities, and still make a great living to support your family. So that's the key.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network, and that's what I was interested in. MLG&W, as we go forward, let's just say another 20 years from now, what would you think? What would you say would be the success if you're done in about 20? Let's say maybe 20 years you're done. You don't want to do this anymore. Your legacy. What will be that in MLGW?
Well, it's just my hope and prayer that the legacy that I would leave here is that our company, as its relevance to the community has grown, that our customer service and that our ability to deliver on the customer experience is superior, and that when people think of MLGW, it's synonymous with delivering superior customer service and customer value. So I want them to be able to think energetically, no pun intended, about MLGW, and I want them to be delighted when they have an interface or an experience with our company. So I want this company to be known, and I want folks to seek us out for input on how to make this a stronger community. So I want them to make this a one-stop shop, if you will, for that, so that we can have that reputation, make sure that we are the entity that makes Memphis a better place to live and work.
So, Mr. Young, how are you reaching out to the community to make sure that they're engaged and they're giving you proper feedback about what they expect the company to deliver?
Well, this has been a great first few weeks because I have had opportunities to meet with several leaders in the community. I'm sure there are more. There are a number that I haven't met with. I've met with folks from the chamber. I'm meeting with folks, of course, from the city officials. I've got meetings set up with folks in the county, in the governmental areas, folks in the business arena, met with leadership from International Paper. I will tell you that it's been my experience that it takes all parts to rise the tide for a community. No one entity can do it. It takes all of us working together. And so I hope that there will be a great collaborative spirit that remains long after I'm gone, that will the rising tide that lifts all boats. I'd like to be a part of that. And so I'm just trying to make sure I'm engaged in all facets that make sense in the community where we can be helpful in making things better.
Well, all boats rising, so to speak, and all tides rise. If Memphis is to be great, and MLGW can be a partner in that, along with the FedExes and the IPs and so forth, what can we do today? And I don't want to wait 20 years after the legacy has been established. What can we do today from your standpoint? I know that MLGW is a business like anything else, right? So from a poverty standpoint, an education standpoint, can we help turn the tide sooner in Memphis? And MLGW using its strength to do that?
Yeah, so again, the biggest thing we can do is to make sure that we have invested appropriately in our infrastructure so that we can have the kind of services that makes this an attractive location, continues to make that. So that's first and foremost. We've got to make sure we're doing that. And on the social side of things, I think it's important for we as a people, for our community, the things that we can control, the things that we can do, we need to do for ourselves, right? So there are things that we can't control that sometimes aren't done right, and we need to make sure the pressure stays there. But at the end of the day, I always want to encourage folks to do what you can do to make your situation better. And if that means, you need to study harder, you need to go to bed at night, a bedtime for our children. And I've raised two, and I know that sometimes that's hard, but we got to do the little things that can contribute to success in our community that sometimes gets overlooked.
And you heard it here first from our very own President and CEO, JT Young of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, right here on Funky Politics, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We're getting funky, y'all.
And we have to thank Dick Durbin for being strong enough to actually come out of the Oval Office and say, hey, by the way.
Because he didn't have to say it, did he?
He didn't have to say it,
and I appreciate
because I tell people all the time, just because you skin folk don't mean you kin folk.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Just because you skin folk, you ain't got to be kin folk.
It's Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN. It starts with you. +1.
Giving back through +1 will make a difference for families in crisis.
It starts with you. +1. Grandma's message couldn't have been any clearer. If you want to change Memphis, look in the mirror. It starts with you. +1.
I remember when we got help from +1.
And now we're helping others. Hey, Memphis, you can make a change.
You too can make a difference.
The doc is here to say something poetic. My rhymes are real and my style is genetic. I will say this much, not mean to be prophetic, but just relax, stay cool. Everything is going to be copacetic. No matter what problems we have and we're experiencing in this world, from the cars all the way up to the White House, it's going to be all right.
I like the way you said it. It's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right.
LT's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right and fantastic.
We got you really sound very happy about that. You sound like you're at a funeral. It's going to be good. I believe the body's okay.
I'm out of that sunken place. I'm back, and life is good, right?
She's still holding on to her pudding pop.
No, I'm back, babe.
It's not going to be all right.
Are you in mourning? You got black. Are you in mourning? The man's not dead. He was just convicted. That's all.
It's
he's only going to get 10 years. He's only 91.
He's not going to get any time.
No time.
This thing is going to get so caught up in appeals. It's going to be ridiculous.
First of all, we need to talk about the guy we just sat here and talked about. And that was not Bill Cosby, but it was J.T. Young, the president and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. Right. This gentleman is going to be doing some great things in our city. I'm looking forward to his leadership ability.
He's definitely one of the leaders of the future in Memphis, Tennessee, and beyond.
That's right.
MLGW is a player on the national stage, not just on the local stage, on the national stage. Thus he will be too.
The largest 3-service utility company in the United States. I learned something new today.
And the largest subscriber from. There you go. You learned 2 things.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
You get 100.
and
and the prize today is a pudding pop. Courtesy of Bill Cosby.
And that's why we keep it real, right, and we always keep it what, y'all?
Funky.
Right here on Funky Politics.
Funky Politics executive producer Larry Robinson for KUDZUKIAN. Hosted by Daryl D.C. Catron and Marcus M.D. Ward. Guest bookings by Miko. Funky Politics recorded at KUDZUKIAN Studio. Directed, produced, recorded, and distributed by KUDZUKIAN.
Some life if you ain't where gold, your style was old. And you got more juice and dope for every bottle sold. One, I say there's gotta be a better way. But hey, never gamble and